Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a Who review. I am Davros, and I'm a Whovian, and today I'm reviewing Doctor Who: The Invasion. So this is a 1968 serial where the Doctor, Jamie and Zoe find themselves on what is present-day Earth at the time, where they encounter a man named Tobias Vaughan, who harvests this secret where he is attempting an invasion as he's in league with the Cybermen, and they plan to invade London, and of course the Doctor finds UNIT and joins forces with them once again to fight this cyber menace. And of course, we get some 60s sci-fi in there. We get a few lost episodes and 8 episodes, of course. So what did I like about this serial? Well, first of all, episode 1 and episode 4 are lost. So it was reconstructed animation. I believe this was taken off shortly after the Mind Robber. So the Doctor, Jamie and Zoe have just come back into their reality and that within the TARDIS, and they, we see episode 1. So not a lot happened in episode 1, other than us getting introduced to, the Doctor finding his new settings and also, meeting Tobias Vaughan before he reveals he's got something behind his bookshelf, and then it carries on. But yeah, I like the animation, the reconstructed animation. Yeah, it's black and white. Maybe they'll redo this entire serial in animation and in colour. Who knows? I'd be down for that. But yeah, I know on the DVD extras, though, the animators did say they were a little disappointed that they never got to do much animation with the Cybermen, as we only see one Cyberman at the end of part 4, where that's the last episode animated. However, they did do a reconstruction of that in animation. Of course, the Cybermen, they look great. They'd been updated and that since the Doctor last saw them from, was it the Wheel in Space? So the Cybermen had a bit of an upgrade and, changed a bit more. They also came around the sewers as well, where some of them got left down there for many years, and they picked up on that in the 1985 serial Revenge of the Cybermen, which I kind of like to think of as a sequel to that, The Invasion. But also the other characters in there, like Professor Watkins, and played by an actor that they reused for Robot in 1974, and also the character of Isabel, Professor Watkins' niece. She sort of became like a companion temporarily for this serial. She was in it quite a lot, and yeah, why she never returned as a regular companion, I don't know. Frazer Hintz and Wendy Pedbury were both great as well, giving the Doctor some support, and Patrick Troughton, he was again phenomenal and crazy and eccentric, as I say, and delivered some comic relief there, especially when he's running from the explosions behind him. I also liked Nicholas Courtney. This was UNIT's second appearance in the show. Before that, it was Web of Fear, where the Brigadier made his debut. But in this, he was officially the Brigadier and the leader and leading and operating UNIT, United Nations Intelligence Task Force, as it was called back then. Nicholas Courtney was great. I feel this was a bit of a teaser, like an appetizer, if you will, of what was to come in the years to follow with Jon Pertwee, as Nick Courtney would become a regular for a good proportion of Jon Pertwee's era, and this was kind of, I don't know, I guess, showing us what it'd be like, or maybe a foreshadowing of the third Doctor's run when we get to it. Of course, we still had one more year of Troughton playing the Doctor, but yeah, I thought this was a good serial. However, I do have my flaws with it. The pacing. Now, like I say, if they were to re-edit this and everything, like they did with the War Games in colour when they edited that down to an hour and a half, I feel maybe they could edit it down into something shorter. maybe an hour and a half or something, because this episode is 8 parts long, and I think an 8-part was a bit too long. I mean, we don't see the Cybermen until, or at least one Cyberman, until the end of episode 4. So the first 4 episodes are kind of dragged out a bit, and it does get boring. There's a lot of filler in this, and I feel that it didn't need to be that way. But like I say, maybe it's because of our generation. Back in the 60s, no one was distracted by smartphones or anything like that. They had quite the attention span, and this was something that had not been on TV like anything other. So people were probably drawn to it a lot more back then, and maybe that's why they drawed it out a bit. But for us modern generation, I feel that maybe this can feel like a bit of a chore to watch. But still, I do like the last few episodes. That's where all the action happens as well, with that. And also the visual effects they had for the time, I think they made work. A lot of it were practical, given that it was all like just practical stuff, given computers weren't a thing back then with TV and stuff. But yeah, Doctor Who The Invasion, I thought it was okay. It was a decent serial once it got going. I just think they could have edited down maybe parts 2 and 3, maybe a good chunk of 4 could have been cut out of this, as I say, because it's quite a long one. But still, 25 minutes each, 8 episodes, that's just how they did it back then. So ratings, I will give the performances an 8, the writing a 8, the visuals an 8 on my personal, I'll give it a 7. So yeah, there you go. There is my review for Doctor Who The Invasion. Have you seen this one? Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share with your friends, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. I have been Davros the Whovian, and this has been a Who Review. So until next time, run for your life.